Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday evening. It's almost August, which is crazy. But we're here with some amazing, talented people for this YEW alumni reading. My name is Ryan Collins. I'm the Executive Director of the Midwest Writing Center. Far more importantly, tonight, I am the Director of the Young Emerging Writers Summer Internship Program and related YEW programs, and have been for the last 14 years of the 15 years this program has existed. Yeah, and it's my immense honor and privilege and pleasure to present just a handful of some of the amazing people that I've had the good fortune to work with over the last 15 years. I'm going to try to hurry up and not do too much yammering. But for those of you who maybe are joining us for the first time, or maybe just finding out about YEW now, the Young Emerging Writers Summer Internship Program is a summer jobs program and a creative writing program kind of put together. I like to tell people it's like a graduate level creative writing workshop and a job skill internship program mashed together. Basically, for the last 15 years, between, I guess, 8 and 16 interns every year, we add a couple more interns. The program keeps getting bigger and bigger, which is a sign of health. We've gotten together. We've met over 6 or 7 weeks. The program's also gotten a little bit longer over time. And we do a lot of reading. We do a lot of writing. We do a lot of critiquing. We do a lot of trying to build each other up. And build up each other's confidence and skills. And they produce a magazine called The Atlas, which is, I think, the only, for a long time, it was the only literary magazine produced in the Quad Cities that wasn't tied to a university or a school or a college or something like that, at least as far as I'm aware. Now there are other magazines. There's another magazine in the Quad Cities as a result of some of our YEW alumni that you'll hear from tonight. Hopefully they'll talk about that, encourage you to get involved with what they're doing. I'll let them talk about it because they know it better. They're far more articulate, and you'd much rather listen to them than me. Trust me. Just for a little background, though, so the program started in 2006. It was started by a gentleman named Timothy Curry. He was a master teacher, English teacher at high school at the time. He has since passed away, but he had this idea. He brought it to the Writing Center right when we moved into Bucktown, when we were still over in Davenport. And he had this idea for doing a high school kind of job skills program, but that would also like publish a magazine. And I was very, very lucky to know him, and he asked me to be involved. I was in graduate school at the time, and so I came back for that first summer, and it was one of the first kind of teaching artist things I'd ever done. And it totally changed my life. It is, as I tell them all the time, it's the best work I have ever done in my life is working with these people that you're going to hear now. And I think it's been like 140 interns over 15 years. I'm not exactly sure. Every year we have interns come back from the previous year or previous years, which I think is also a sign of health and something that I'm always really grateful for, that people have a good experience and come back. And what's even more than that is, as they go out in the world and go to college and get jobs and do all these terrific things, they've kept in touch. They've kept us informed of the great things that they're doing. Not all of them are still maybe writing actively, but I don't know that was ever our intention with the program. Our intention with the program was to use, hopefully people are still reading and writing and appreciating the written word. But I think there's a lot of skills that come out of the program that are applicable, hopefully forever, in terms of language skills, in terms of trying to be a professional and meet deadlines, in terms of like collaborating. There's a lot of collaboration that happens. Anyone who's ever worked on a literary magazine can tell you, usually, except in very rare circumstances, it's a team effort, usually a pretty big team. Every issue has been composed in like 6 weeks. So when we start meeting, we don't have any magazine at all. And by the time the program's over, we have, well, I can show you. These are it. These are the 14 issues we've published so far. Issue 15 will be out later this summer. Usually it's in mid-August, but with everything that's going on, it's probably going to be pushed back a little bit, a little closer to September. As soon as we have that information, we'll let you know. And this year obviously has been a little bit different because we've been meeting like this. Usually this event was supposed to be at the Figgy Art Museum initially, so we want to shout out Figgy. We love them. We love having events there. They've been so good to us for so long. It's just such an amazing space, and it just keeps getting better and better with their programs, with their exhibitions. It's always a pleasure to work with them. So we're sad that we couldn't be there for this event, but please check them out. They're very active online. They have some hours that you can get in there, check some things out. So please check them out and support them if you're in or around the Quad Cities. And yeah, we usually do some other public events. Last week, we had a showcase for this year's interns that was supposed to be at Rostock's. None of them are going to be reading tonight because they're not alumni. They're still actively in the program. But we've got some recent alumni, and we've got some not so recent alumni. But many of the people that you're going to see tonight have like stayed involved with the program, whether they've been on staff, whether they've been like visiting writers and kind of sat in with people, whether they've just like come to the events and kind of helped support the program over the years. We really tried to cultivate a community with this program, just like we do with everything at the Writing Center, and seeing the culture and the community that has developed around this program and all the amazing things these interns have gone on to do. I know we've got at least, I think, 3 PhDs among YW alumni. I know we've got a Fulbright scholar. We've got Skylar Alexander, who's got a book coming out. We've got several people who have published chat books. We've got people who have started magazines, started presses. We've got people that are doing stand-up comedy and sketch comedy in Chicago and other parts of the country. We've got interns that live in different parts all over the world. I think at one point we had interns on 4 continents. And we're all still kind of like at least keeping in touch and like keeping abreast of what everybody's doing. I think that's just so amazing that, you know, the way that, you know, we do everything we can to try to inspire these kids, but the truth is they inspire each other. And the friendships that they make during this program last, and in a lot of cases have like grown into some really amazing relationships that it's just been such a privilege to see over the years. So I just want to thank everyone who's ever been involved with the program, all the staff we've ever had. There's just too many names to kind of run through all of them right now. But if you're watching this and you've ever been involved with YW, it means the world. It's very important to the Writing Center. It's even more important to me. We love you. We're grateful for you. We hope you're doing well. We're so happy that we get to share the work of these terrific people with you tonight. So I am going to hand it off to our host for the evening. Our host for the evening is Sarah Elgation, who just joined the YEW staff, despite the fact that she was involved with the second and third year that we did the program, I believe. So she's like the ranking alumni. And so as YEW staff and the ranking alumni here, she will be kicking off the reading and then taking over the hosting duties. So you don't have to listen to me anymore until the very end, which is really great for you. So Sarah, please take it away. Please enjoy everything that is to come. Start those watch parties. Yeah, take it away, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Before I start, I'm going to tell the whole world, whoever's listening, I am extra grateful for having been in the Young Emerging Writers Internship. It, at the very least, is instrumental in my becoming a writer and involved with the arts as a professional. I have not stopped writing, and I think that most people who hope to become writers, like capital W writers, stop. They decide that if it can't make you money, then you shouldn't do it or something. And that's really sad first. But also like started making me a little bit of money. I'm going to jump in now and hopefully it won't be too awkward transitioning back into me just talking. My piece is called, it's going to be an excerpt from a piece which you can find in Beholder Magazine. That's beholdermagazine.com, issue 2. Called Fragments, 6 Things I Learned from Your Death. 1. A body can get used to anything. When you died, I thought I'd get used to it. The weight, the dark, the hole. I thought I knew what was coming. I didn't. My body was used to grief, light emotional abuse, loneliness, long bus rides, poor nutrition. With you gone, I became poisonous, intoxicated by the 73 individual scenarios I had parsed out in which you were still alive. If only, if only, if only. I hated you. I hated your mother, father, brother, that god-awful pastor, God, obviously, and I hated myself. So much. I sent you a letter 3 days before you died. Snail mail on fancy stationery made with flower petals. I begged you to stay. And I got used to hating you. I figured you were at home in the damp, bruised basement of your family. I thought maybe you were some kind of martyr whose cause I didn't understand. It took me years to consider that maybe you were just sick. Maybe it wasn't preventable. 2. Trauma cannot help but pass itself down. 3. Healing is relative. I wrote the lyrics to Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst in the letter I wrote you before you died. I begged you not to make me sing about you. You needed to tell your story. No one else could. I refused in my letter to sing about you. I begged you to ignore centuries of abuse from the medical community and just do what the doctors advised. When I learned, days later, that you died, I was livid. I saw red like Looney Tunes TNT, like Coyote. I ran as far as I could before I looked down and just free fell into this whole new abyss. More than anything, I was mad. I insisted for years that your death was premature, preventable, that you were just too stubborn to cut the rotten parts out. But what if it was just too late? It occurred to me out of nowhere, and 6 years late, that maybe this is just what cancer does. It ate up enough of you, greedy and fiendish, leaving chunks of you missing, concave, lumpy, and it finished consuming you on a date I'll never forget. Your birthday, though, that date never quite stuck. Except alone in a light and sound booth at the theater where I worked to make ends stretch a little closer to meeting, I decided for the first time in years that it might be nice to hear Kendrick Lamar of all things. Wearing a black shirt, black pants, black boots, in a tiny room painted black with one lone blue light, I started with track 1 while I did my pre-show chores. When I returned to the booth to test sound cues, my neck was tense, my eyes hot, and when the lights shut off and it's my turn to settle down, my main concern, promise that you will sing about me. I did my best to never hear that song for 6 barren, broken years, and in this cold black room, I crumpled. You weren't too stubborn, too scared, too quiet, too poor to survive. You were just magnificently unlucky. And I threatened you. I swore I wouldn't tell your story. I wouldn't carry you around. You were a master storyteller, half escape artist, half ghetto gorilla. You wove lace parables out of cobweb truths. All you left behind were your stories on a well-locked computer, long ago sold, I'm sure, when money was tight or spirits weren't getting high enough. That day in the theater was your birthday. I learned shortly after the play started. I took out my phone and opened Facebook. Guess who showed up in my featured memories? Section 4. Friends just need to show up. I worked at a Montessori preschool in the eastern suburbs of Seattle. I took 2 buses, an hour and a half each way, to make $12 an hour. The calls came. 10 a.m., your number. I'm watching 2-year-olds on a jungle gym. 11:45 a.m., your mom's phone. I'm microwaving home-cooked meals for 4-year-olds whose parents send hot lunch to school. 12:05 and 12:25 p.m., one from your number, one from your mom's. I'm rubbing the backs of 2 3-year-olds in slow circles to coax them to sleep. 12:28 and 12:32 p.m., 2 numbers I don't know. After nap time, 12:45 p.m., my break. In an all-white kitchen shaped like a hallway, I microwaved a TV dinner and checked my voicemail. Voicemails from those last 2 calls saying that they were your aunt and cousin. You're expected to pass today. Please call Nini. Please come. I abandoned my frozen meal and told the principal, a kind, sunny white lady who sounded happy even when she was yelling, that you were dying and I needed to leave. Take as much time as you need. Checking and refreshing and rechecking my bus app, I jogged off balance to my stop. I bought gummy bears from the Brown Bear car wash while I waited and waited. I took a selfie, called my mom. I got on a bus. I got off the bus and waited. I searched which buses went into town. I searched which buses came soonest. I checked the cost of a lift. Too much. more than I had to my name. A bus came. I got on. My phone rang. Nini said that I was welcome to come to the hospital, but my hand went numb, phone dropped to the carpeted seat next to me, and all I could see was white. The windows swallowed the bus. The bus lurched in a brake. I squinted to focus and stumbled through the front door. This was not my stop. My body a cold, hollow shell, I found my way back to my apartment just before dark. My friends had watched me grieve many times before you. My boyfriend went to work. My friends came over. 1 or 2 at a time, they brought me food or watched TV with me until I fell asleep. For days, they babysat me like a sick infant, hovering, but from a distance, just in case. My mom visited. I laid in her hotel bed and ate caramel apples from Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory, sliced with care and covered in Butterfinger crumbs. We rode the Ferris wheel and paid for photos. In them, I looked just this side of dead. My mom left and I went back to work. My friends brought candy and takeout. My live-in boyfriend, whose father died when he was 14, did not care for me this way. He did not come to your services. He did not treat me gently. When you died, I broke up with him. After 5 abrasive, abusive years. In the time we dated, I lost 6 people. Section 6. There is no end, and it is unstoppable. I took that line from a story of yours that I don't even remember. I just needed something to put on the back of your funeral program. It has been stuck in my head like a pop song ever since, like a prayer. In a desperate search to understand it, I scoured my computer, the internet, the literary journal we built together, and I couldn't find it. I read over 100 pages of your writing, my eyes unable to focus, unable to put the sentences together like they were intended, only fragments sticking unevenly to the page got through. Frustrated, like maybe I could cry, like if one thing went wrong. If I spilled my drink or stepped on something foul, I would break down. I found issues of the magazine from before we were friends. You said, "It is uncontrollable and involuntary." You said, "It is necessary, but an inconvenience." You sewed a code into your prose for me to find. 4 years later, you comforted me before you even knew you were sick. Every memory, every screenshot I saved of our friendship, while faded when I tried to access it, was built on your own understanding that this inevitable abyss would come prematurely to you. When we met, I invited you to lunch during a break in our meeting, and you said no. You stayed in our meeting room while the rest of us left, stretched, ate. The next day, you came with me. We walked slower than I knew a body could move. It took us 15 minutes to walk what I thought would take 5. You didn't speak unless prompted. You didn't order food or eat what I offered. You did not want my friendship. A few months later, we had a class together, and I sat next to you in the weirdly long room where we read and discussed the great American novel. You didn't speak in class. You sat in the back corner on the same side of the room as the door. But you laughed at my jokes. I saw you give a reading that quarter, no sign of stage fright, but you swore to me later that you blacked out when you were at the mic. Then, finally, Fragments magazine returned. I nagged you into going out for drinks with us at that too expensive, not really Irish pub. You didn't drink, kept your distance, but you opened yourself then to the idea that we were potential friends. Your first, I think. When I think about you, you're hiding Papa Murphy's in my fridge and pulling frozen alcoholic juice boxes out of your purse. Your eyes smirking inside of heavy brown lids, your lips too pink with makeup are pursed in protest against your eyes like you don't really believe you're having a good time. We're driving to Tequila in your mom's gold Toyota, almost as old as we are, and you're reading MapQuest directions to me. When we park at the mechanics, you tell me you've never been to a sex shop, and we act like children when we walk in. What on earth do you use this for? You lend me your earrings when I cut my hair. You smile silent when new boys are around. I forget sometimes that your death was final. Sarcoma feels too round in my mouth to have sharp edges. Why, if it's over, do I still reach to call you? Still, when Twin Peaks and X-Files have reboots, when Friends mix Monarch and Orangina, when I'm on a spruce street in a different city. I see you in things that glitter, like the jeweled pen you gave me for my birthday, and things that tinkle, like the one note at a time tiny music box of Here Comes the Sun you gave me from your hospital bed, not knowing how this song had healed me once before. I see you in slow walkers, in the smell of new paperbacks, in cocoa butter. It is uncontrollable and involuntary. It is necessary, but an inconvenience. There is no end, and it is unstoppable. Thank you. Next up is Abigail Morrow, who was in issues 7, 8, and 9 of the Atlas. Oh, I am so sorry. Next up is Emily Lloyd Brown, who was in issues 13 and 14 of the Atlas. I apologize. And she was also a workshop leader this year for the internship. She sent us a recording, which we are going to now enjoy.
Okay, so lastly, I'd like to do something a bit special. I'd like to play a little song for all of you on this oversized guitar of mine and sing along a little bit. So thank you very much for having me. I hope you all have an awesome night, and this piece is currently untitled. Here I go again. It's not like I don't forgive you. It's just that I never learned how to move on without myself from 6 years ago. She's screaming in my ear, get me the fuck right out of here. All right, so this next piece is a newer one that I actually wrote sitting in YW this year, so thank you, Ryan, for the prompt that I stole. This is titled Appia. I always wondered what it meant that it was easier to make love than eye contact with you. You know me, always looking for meaning in places I shouldn't be, and running away from the moments I should be there for, like playing cards on the table or constructing a jigsaw puzzle together in the midst of heavy shit. I'll never forget how you said it that night. This isn't poetic. It's messy. I didn't realize until you told me later that you as well are prone to this misconception, or that you try to keep your emotional hand hidden until I lay myself bare first. So, if we're both fools, if we're both poetic dreamers, apathetic vigilantes, pretentious intellectuals, then please allow me a moment of indulgence. Of course we play cards when we don't want to reveal ourselves. Of course we'd rather put the physical jigsaws together before the intangible ones. Of course I can't look you in the eyes for too long when I know you don't want me to see what's in there. Of course I can't help but care about you when you and I have so much in common. Of course I love you. Thank you. Hi, I'm so excited to be reading for this event today. Thank you, Ryan, and to YAW for having me here and for having me back to work with YAW this year. I've got 3 things I want to share with you. First, I'd like to share one of my pieces from last year's Atlas, actually, because I love to read it, and some of you might like to be subjected to it again. So here is My Gender. My gender is a bitch. My gender eats your gender for breakfast. My gender is mine and mine alone. My gender is indestructible. My gender is indescribable. My gender refuses to tell me what it is. My gender sings in an award-winning punk band. My gender is wanted by the US government. My gender fucks with social norms. My gender sings in an underground punk band. My gender had its emo phase a decade after everyone else. My gender sings My Chemical Romance loudly and out of key in the shower. My gender makes people turn their heads in confusion and envy. My gender has social anxiety. My gender makes me a target. My gender is a statistics magnet. My gender looks at itself in the mirror and screams when it can't tell what it sees. My gender can't decide what clothes to put on in the morning. My gender has to teach itself everything. My gender never learned how to ride a bike. My gender can't decide what it wants to do with itself. My gender goes away for varying periods of time. My gender leaves me stranded in a fit of distress, but how could I ever be upset with it? My gender sends me a card that says sorry. My gender comes with flowers and an Amazon gift card. My gender holds my hand. My gender doesn't mind being a metaphor. My gender doesn't mind when I misunderstand it. My gender is misunderstood. My gender misunderstands itself. My gender is a jigsaw puzzle and the pieces are years. My gender is under construction. My gender hears what you call it. My gender asks for your patience and politely offers you its middle finger. And my gender waits. Thank you.
That was... I apologize. That was so amazing. Thank you so much, Emily. Damn. Up next, we have Alice Cook. He was in issue 14 of the Atlas and is going to bring the house down, I think. Alex, take it away.
Hi. I think I fucked up. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, thank you. The first one I'm gonna read, it's called Twink. Wrote it in a rough patch, but it's a fun one. Warmth feels like love, even if it's for a fleeting second. Your eyes on me are the words of encouragement from the stands, the indecisive look you give me that I can't quite distinguish. Whether it means you want to fuck me or kill me, but either way, it feels like thick honeycomb choking me as it slides down my throat. But you know I adore it. The questioning top or bottom that's assumed before I even speak. The grabbing hands at my ass feel like the I love yous I haven't heard in oh so long. I'm just your type. I'll never tell you no, because if I'm not wanted, I might as well be dead, right? Your 3 a.m. text that you need me, get me through the day, because at this point, who am I without your need for fulfillment? It's short, but that's that. And then the next one's called Cold. Cold. 1. The frosty expanse of my skin. It's always been frozen. 2. Words. Washed away with ice, water, bone-chilling language. 3. Our last hug. I really don't remember it now. 4. Early mornings with the windows open, even the birds are silent now. Paralyzing. 5. Imagining your chest moving up and down. Short beeps that made me feel whole. The last call. 6. The drop from this world. Ice. And then the last one's just called Over It. My temple was invaded by your soldiers in a single file line, ready to break me down brick by brick. I wonder how it felt. Did you feel powerful seeing my demeanor fall? Did my strength taste like bubblegum? Did the pop fill you with satisfaction? I like to think you wonder about me sometimes, but if you saw me now, I think you'd be disappointed. I was told I felt like sunshine under your fingertips, but my light was scraped away and you're left pulling it from under your nails. I'm you. I worry I'll only ever be you, but your smiles used to fill me with hope that maybe you still cared, but clearly you were just sharpening your teeth before you took the next bite out of my composure. I hope you think of me on nights when you're oh so lonely. I hope the thought that maybe you fucked up feels like bile burning the back of your throat, and I hope the second guessing whether I was actually the problem or if you just needed a pretty toy chokes you. But of course, I'm over it. And that's the end. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. That was exactly like I said it was going to be, because I knew you were going to bring the house down. Next up, we have Nicole Shaded. She was in issue 14 of the Atlas. Nicole, what you doing now?
Right now, I've just been in Michigan, which is where I'm from. Obviously, I was in Atlas 14, but I graduated high school, and now here I am. So I'm going to read 3 of my pieces. I thought it'd be kind of cool to show my evolution of writing. If you notice anything crawling around, there is a snake in my hand. I apologize. But so I will start with one of the first pieces I wrote and actually enjoyed enough to keep. It was titled Realizations. You are the human equivalent to a brick wall. No amount of begging or pleading will move you in a feeble attempt to save you. You are a mountain standing tall and proud when all you are is creation of chance that just creates an obstacle to anyone who gets too close. You are every single one of the 7 deadly sins in one body, not just a demon, but the devil in disguise, whispering empty promises only to drag every single person through all the 7 layers you call love. Short and sweet. There's a second piece I wrote during the internship. I don't think this one made it into the atlas itself, but I don't think I submitted it either. So this one is titled A Witch Defined, also fairly short. Witch. 1. A woman of bravery. 2. Waltzing into the woods without fear, reaching out to the animals surrounding her feet, offering a gentle smile to the spirits among her, gently picking herbs, thanking the trees for what she has taken. 3. My grandmother, full of warmth, passing down her books, the next in line, gifting tarot decks, offering wisdom when all seems lost. Meditation will ease your mind. Take no shit, but mind the rule of 3. Karma is all too real. Do not forget she has a nasty aura. 4. My sister, hoarding incense, always learning, always practicing, ever evolving. Look at that candle. God damn it, I wish I could curse her. Karma will come for her ass, do not doubt. You have magic in your blood, and never forget that. And then my sister also will whisper, I vote we all hex from. 5. A family friend, the seer of auras, kind, gentle, giving, selfless, and warm hugs. You're a healer. If it calls to you, it is meant to be yours. And 6. Me. Granddaughter to a witch, sister to a witch, blood filled with magic, always learning, still a witch, even without practice, a baby witch, lover of crystals, lover of flowers, lover of the moon, and a child of Freya. 7. Anyone. We were born with magic. You are magic. And to finish, I have one final piece that I wrote recent enough that it does not have a name yet. It's pretty self-explanatory when I read it. The day I was born, my great-grandmother shook her head and laughed. With a smile, she pointed at my feet and said, "She will be a sure-footed child." When my mother first told me this story, I laughed. I told my great-grandmother she had been wrong. All my life, I'd been stumbling and falling, far from steady on my much too large feet. She shook her head and took a long sip of her beer. My great-grandmother stared at me for a long moment. She seemed to look past my eyes and straight into my soul. "Have I ever lied to you?" That's all my grandmother said. With her words still hanging unanswered in the air, she stood from the table and disappeared to who knows where in her cramped trailer. I held my grandmother's hand until her heart stopped beating. The movies had lied when they told me death was quick. When she was truly gone, I felt lost. As I struggled to drag my feet away from her, I thought. It took me years to realize my great-grandmother was never talking about balance. From the moment I was born, my great-grandmother knew I would be a stubborn child. I don't know if it was a warning to my mother or she said it with pride in her voice, but my grandmother was right. My family is full of a long line of stubborn women, and I proudly carry it on. And that's pretty much the evolution through my writing. That is my most recent piece. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Nicole. That was a really cool idea, and I am really impressed. My early work is not okay for public consumption, so that was dope. Up next, we have Kennedy Mason. Kennedy was in issues 11 and 12 of the Atlas. Take it away, Kennedy.
Okay, hello everyone. So I'm just going to read 2 short little pieces. The first one is called When My Feet Don't Touch. I like to swim out till my toes don't touch anymore. My liberation from earth, murky water snaking between my toes, up my legs like silk ribbon. or air. The closest I'll ever be to flying, I lean back and hand over control, fingers draped in the water like wilted lily. My eyelids warm and red from the beating sun and the blood in my veins, salt crystals stuck to my lashes. I rise and fall with the waves, as if they were the breath of the world or some ancient spirit or a giant monster. Either way, this water is warm. It envelops all of me and I am comforted, maybe because I feel like a baby in a bassinet who knows she is safe, maybe because I know I am not. When I finally turn myself upright, I see nothing but sunlight rippled and sharpened by water and salt, uncorrupted by sand and palms and houses. My feet do not touch. I like it better this way. When your feet are not planted, toes sprouting roots in the sand, you cannot be a part of the tree, only a leaf free to drift in the sea. But I promise, I like it better this way, this free-floating kind of way, this go with the flow kind of way, this follow my gut kind of way, wherever the wind blows kind of way, to be an island of flower pieces, sailing wherever the tide pulls. I like it better this way. I used to be afraid of boats, of sailing, of being my own little island lost at sea without a Wilson. But after years of failed attempts to tether myself to the mainland, I figured out I like it better this way. My feet do not touch. So that was my first one. And then the second one does not have a title yet, and it's kind of messy still, but I figured I would read it. I cried in my car today, driving 50 down to 35. I know that's bad, but the lack of air in my lungs needed to be replaced by something, and the only thing to fill them was my foot on the gas pedal. And I need to get away from you. In the car next to me, the first time I've seen you in a year, but it was still too soon. Never would have been too soon. The smirk on your face when our eyes locked told me you have not changed, will not change. My chest shrunk, my tears grew. I sat in my driveway, afraid to go in and explain why I'm still afraid of you. And that's the end of that one. Just a short little one.
Okay, damn. Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Damn. Starting to be real glad I'm not following these people. Okay, next up is we've got a pre-recorded video from Erin Hance, who was in years 11, 12, and 13 of the Atlas. I don't know her, so this will be exciting for all of us. Exciting for all of us. Sorry about that, everyone.
Hi, my name is Erin, and I'm going to be performing 2 untitled pieces for you tonight. Hating me is America's favorite pastime. Yes, you can acquire skills along the way, practice every morning before the sun spreads across this house like melted butter. However, there are just some things you have to be born with. Some techniques that fester their way into a never-ending cycle of perfection. This is the only sport I ever went pro in. My house is adorned with medals. My body a trophy. I don't have fans, but I do attract the local mobs. They know every word to the song of my sobs. They hate me with passion from their freshly cut lawns, but I hate with precision. The careful way I perform and balance every decision. rip myself apart with steady hands and clean incisions. I don't need tricks or gear or smarts, the statistics on how to accurately break my heart, my life broken down to graphs and charts. I'm a one-woman team clutching every prize to my chest. The thrill of winning turning into being borderline obsessed, but my lonely museum is all I have left. And this is my last piece. When the semi-regular customer starts lingering around my register like a gas leak, I don't say anything. When he follows me around the store, never seeming to shut up, I cling to the politeness in my voice everyone is always telling me I possess. When he aggressively asks me what my greatest fear is, I say clowns. He says his is rejection with a flawless transition into, "Where are you going to be tonight?" while shoving his phone in my face, contacts app open. Well, thank you for asking. Tonight, I'll be crafting nightmares about slow and painful letdowns. I'll be writing a Tim Burton-inspired film called Rejection, and I'm making him the lonely lover boy star of it. I'll be spelling out, "Go fuck yourself" in sacrificial blood. I'll be creating a coven dedicated to the refreshing art of disappointing men. I'll be hiring Frankenstein's monster to lurk beside him all night, and the only way to break away from his padlocked gaze is by throwing your number at him like a flash to disappear behind. Come to think of it, I'll be in the same place he is, waiting for that perfect moment of vulnerability. That moment in the movie when the good guy you thought you had all figured out twists into the monster you've been afraid of all along. That's where I'll be. Thank you.
Damn. Okay. Um, Erin's not here for me to talk about to her face how dope that was, but I'm sure she knows. Next up, we have the inimitable Ms. Erica Eastland. She was in years 11 and 12 of the Young Emerging Writers Internship, and she has been on staff of the Young Emerging Writers Internship for at least a couple years as the managing editor of the magazine, generally kicking total patootie. Take it away, darling dearest.
Hi, my name is Erica, and I don't really like reading, so this is a rare occasion. I was going to talk about how I have been in YEW for a couple years and have been participating as an editor, but I think I'll just get to it. My friend Sam and I, who is also reading later in this, we run our own magazine, which we started after going through YEW for a couple years. We decided that it was time to do our own thing. So our magazine is called Sonder Midwest. So if you could check that out, that would be lovely. All right, so I'm going to read 3 pieces tonight. The first piece that I have is one of the first pieces that I wrote in YEW. It was after one of the strange 20 questions prompts that we did. So this first piece is called What Losses. Actually, hold on one second. I just realized that my boyfriend was busting some rap in the background. I apologize very much. Wow. I love my life. Okay, here we go for real this time. What losses? There is a planet filled with flowers, only roses of every color. They do not die. People die. The flowers' eyes look like raindrops, glistening on a circle of silk. We placed flowers on Grandpa's grave in the cold. The flowers tasted like butterscotch and chalk, hard to choke down anything with that taste in my throat. Evergreen trees. We hang lights on the huge tree out front before it gets too cold out, the top always just out of reach, the color and beauty coveted, shiny and huge, if only it had all of its lights. Grandpa gave me 3 things: a tiny sapphire necklace, a key to another home, historical documents, Placed in a box in my backyard under the big maple tree, we buried it and held a funeral. It's Fish Fry Friday, but this time we won't be eating with Grandpa. Instead, I just lay in my bed, my ceiling staring down at me. I close my eyes, muttering a desperate whisper, "Please be purple and not black," and open them. Blackness again. The walls are a different color than when I left them. My dad says Grandpa died nicely. I tell him, I hope one day you stop lying for sport and that you remember nothing about me. I hope you are well. The sound was loud, painful to my ear, metal on metal, rust and rubber, a burnt aroma. And then I saw her, a very real thing, precise and human, modest clothes, well-groomed, no identity, just plain and perfection. Just as quickly as her arrival, her color dulled. Her feet were gone, her hair diminished piece by piece before she began to fade entirely, and then she was simply gone, a faint mist in her place. The murderer feels nothing but pleasure from its ultimate destruction of the most necessary muscle. Grandpa was pronounced dead at the scene. A month's worth of blood looks like a pool of black, a reflection of myself haunting me from the liquid. They say things about me since his death. She must be very nervous. She probably doesn't work very hard at all anymore. Don't be too quick to judge. They watch me and say, wait, she's a writer, an artist. I curse them out anyway. Okay, and my second piece is called Misaligned. I look through layered panes of glass at a world I don't appreciate. Glasses glare, smearing my vision, clouding my vision. Echoes of light obscure direction. I am trying to wipe them away. I am trying to clear my sight. I am trying to polish these panes. I am made of deviations, spotted with irreparable imperfections. I am astigmatism, distorting my own focus. All right, and my last piece is called, I think I'm going to switch it real quick, so let me find it. All right, my last piece is called Who's to Say What Home Even Means? Is it the way the sheets slide off the bed corners? Is it the green shingles flaking off the windows? Home has got to be the days of lost meals, lost prayers at the dinner table. Or maybe home is all the piled laundry and dishes of 2.5 people. Dust is everywhere because nothing has been cleaned in years. Home is not the shadows behind bedroom closets. Home is the yelling and the shaking of voices when all goes wrong. Home is the spider webs in the corners of the cabinets. There's that dust again. Home is wooden floors scratched by claws, cat hair with torn bits of carpet on top of rugs on top of more carpet. Home is fast food garbage and empty milk jugs on sticky counters. Home is a stress ball that cannot be squeezed nor felt. Home is a home. I need help with all the chores. I need help with all the floors. I need help with the trash and the cats, and the leak in the basement is soaking up the floor. I don't know what to do anymore. Thank you.
Damn. For those of you who are not Erica or Kaylee or Ryan, you don't know that Erica almost didn't read tonight, and none of us would have known that that would have been a terrible thing for us. But now we know that we have experienced something amazing, and a little bit, haha, told you so, but a little bit like, oh my God, thank you. Erica, that was so amazing. Next up, we have Kayla Keel, who was in issues 11 and 12 of the Atlas and has been a workshop leader this year at the Young Emerging Writers Internship. Kaylee is also going to kick patootie. Let's go.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say I am so excited to be here with everybody. It's been so long since I've gotten the chance to share a room with my fellow YEU members and just even gotten to partake in programs by the Midwest Writing Center for a really long time. So this was hard. I'm sorry. This is my lovely roommate. Yes, this is Allie. She's here to support me just like everybody else who is watching and who is here with me. I do have a few plugs before I get started, if that's okay. I am currently the editor-in-chief of Black Art Real Stories, which is a literary magazine at the University of Iowa. However, we do not only publish students, we also publish non-students, and we are open for submissions. We are creating a sort of quarantine-style magazine that also focuses not only on experiences of BIPOC people and allies in quarantine, but also in regards to the Black Lives Matter movement. So if you're interested in submitting, send them to blackartrealstoriessubmit@gmail.com, or you can contact me or Google us through the university and we will be able to answer any of your questions. I will be reading then 2 poems tonight. Both of them focus heavily on the violence and the sexuality that is faced at times by the Black femme body. Before I get started, I would like to state that these 2 poems are very important to me, not only because of the fact that I crafted them, but because I really feel as though there isn't as much attention on the experiences and the exploitation of Black women that there really should be, or even in all of those intersectionalities. This first poem I'm going to be reading is titled The Black CIA Agent in the Computer Screen. I will say that there is a trigger warning for both racism, sexual assault, and suicide. And if anybody is uncomfortable by sexual vulgarity, I will also add that. Damn! That is a nasty bitch. You know, sometimes I wish this girl could see me, clapping through the screen when I hear her nigga screaming. I thought I knew what joy sounded like, but every time she hits record, I just want to pop a bottle of champagne because this hoe has got a deep throat. I'm pretty sure I heard the gates of hell open when that nigga's feet touched the ceiling. There was just this gargling. I just want to buy this bitch a bottle. Actually, she prefers cranberry. But let us sit and twirl our curls, drenched in hot oil twists, clown on the niggas we got sprung off some Tiana Trump shit. We are 2 sisters, cut from cowrie shells, stained by sugarcane. 2 sisters, as black as sea-soaked bone. My sister. We share history. A search history of hoodoo candle readings, of the Maya and the Mississippi, of discord and gender and drinking and driving and slavery, of psalms in Nepali, of spam and lithium, sex on the ceiling, sex on Twitter, sex and 3-ways, sex after virginity, sex after bleeding, sex after rape, sex that includes squirting without getting dizzy, sex that excludes crying after creaming. Sex that is separated from violent body memories, the kind that force you to smash your forehead into the wall. I see my sister smashing her forehead into the wall when she forgets to put her bindi over the camera. When she forgets me, my sister lies on the floor next to her bed because she cannot stand to sleep in the same sheets he bruised and bled her in. The ex-boyfriend with blacks go back tatted on his bicep still breathes down her neck and dares her to swallow the entire medicine cabinet. I am the agent in her scream. I am I'm a Black woman who understands her pain, and yet all I can do is watch her fight each chemical in her brain, turning her head towards that last step, intent, each whisper promising her that to survive is to fear the penalties of Christ, and to die is to reimagine her pain in a paradise. God, if you can hear me, please send my sister dreams of sitting on the porch at sunset with a jar of juice and strawberries. Please, sister, if you can hear me, look at your screen. Okay. Thank you. That is that poem. Then the last one I will do for you tonight is actually one that is getting published soon. The booklet will be finished within the next week, I believe. So when that's done, you'll be able to have links to all of that. I'm really excited. This is one of my favorites. The title of this piece is called "The Last Time a Half-Black Woman Felt Healed." And again, I would say trigger warnings for sexual vulgarity if that is something that makes you uncomfortable. The last time I had sex, I busted 6 nuts in 25 minutes. My man's body, it's like a magic wand. A moon-charged rose quartz or a vajra bathed in flower water, infused with light and mudras. Prayers leak from me when we become one. I can taste the ink of a prophet's brush on his tongue. Thunderstorms gather in my throat when my fingers massage the pink belly of his teeth. You know what? I'm just going to restart that.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. No, you know, this happens when you have cats in the apartment. It's okay. All right. The last time a half-Black woman felt healed. The last time I had sex, I busted 6 nuts in 25 minutes. My man's body, it's like a magic wand. A moon-charged rose quartz or a vajra bathed in flower water, filled with light and mudras. Prayers leak from me when we become one. I can taste the ink of a prophet's brush on his tongue. Thunderstorms gather in my throat when my lips caress his curls. When my fingers massage the pink belly of his cheek and his teeth that have so often bit and bruised me, I feel at peace. When we're done and my name glistens on his chin, when we're done and his name pools between my legs, when we're done and together we breathe in the sweetened scent of an amen, I feel whole again. Each orgasm ties our souls tighter. Each time we come, God pulls us closer. The clocks are frozen, adorned with rotting eucalyptus. But when the leaves fall on my cheek, the spell breaks, and I'm reminded of all I can't do. I can't protect him from the fruit flies in my kitchen. I can't protect him from the sweat of summer's heat. I can't protect him from the patriots circling our street. I can't protect him from Iowa. I can't protect him from the police. I can't protect him from history as it repeats. Bodies are dropping all around us. Grief tears into our backs, shatters each clock and dead plant, dead what I dread, my man to soon be, dead what I dream, myself to soon be, dead what our world faces in a global catastrophe. But please, I don't want our bodies to hang from these trees. Please, for just another hour or for eternity, let us offer cocoa beans to our ancestors. Let us light candles and learn shadow work. Recite Psalms and 31 Proverbs until our tongues can purify the holiest of waters. Please, just for one more moment, let him stay in me. Okay, so that's the end of my set. Thank you so much, and thank you for being cool about the kitties. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you so much, Kaylee. I am actually crying right now. I'm guessing I'm not the only one. So those of you at home who may need to take a deep breath, I encourage you to do that with me. I'll do my best fake yogi here. In really big and out really big, and then do a little wiggle. It is so powerful because she is so gifted at saying exactly what she means to say. And I am sure everyone else feels as honored as I do to have heard these beautiful poems. Hope everyone's had a little exhale. It's feeling a little more normal, maybe. Up next, we have Sam Bruner. They were in Atlas 11 and 12 and were a workshop leader as well this year. Take it away, dear Sam.
Holy shit, everyone's so talented. I'm so lucky to be reading with all of you tonight. I'm going to try and keep this brief. I have two things. I want to plug Sonder, reiterate what Erica said. Our subs are always open. We always accept subs. Please send us subs. We have a submittable. And then I'm going to give an overall content warning for my works because I might miss a place in my work that warrants a content warning. I do talk about death. I do talk about PTSD, eating disorders, self-harm, and I think that's everything. All right, here we go. This first one is called Grief. Shock. Watching the ambulance carry you away was one of those moments that will always be burned into my mind. The string of curses that followed because I was too late, the feeling of cold blood that ran through my body, the silent crying at the dining room table, the empty that followed. Denial. The first time I walked into your house after that night, I expected to see you in your chair reading a book. That's where you belonged. I expected to see Grandpa at his computer and your dog lying between you two. The TV should have been playing Wheel of Fortune. The house should have smelled like dinner, but it didn't. It was silent and cold and unforgiving. Guilt. I should have visited you more. I was too wrapped up in my own stupid high school life to come visit more. I took for granted that you lived next door. I just assumed that you would always be there, that you would see me walk across the stage, that you would see me off to college, get a steady job, buy a house, get married, that you would be there forever. I should have known better. Anger. I've always been too focused on the loneliness that grows in my own heart. It's malignant, like cancer. If only I'd played more cribbage with you and Grandpa and offered you to take your dogs on a walk, went book shopping with you more often, checked in on you after Grandpa died. I told myself you died of a broken heart. I could forgive you for being heartbroken. I can't forgive you for cancer. But really, I was too self-centered to see what was really happening, and I hate myself for that every day. Depression. I don't think I'll ever forget the last day I saw you, the disgust in your eyes at food, at kindness, at talking. You barely said a word. But I could feel the broken pieces in the air. They were tangible. They were malignant. They got stuck under my skin like broken glass. They made me their new home, nestled in my mess of veins. Reconstruction. I visited your grave the other day. Your name's carved into the granite next to a cardinal. Nobody ever told me what it would be like to lose two of your grandparents less than 6 months apart. Nobody ever told me how to grieve, how to forgive you for leaving. I'm learning, though, slowly. I'm learning how to pick out the pieces, close the wounds with sutures. It's painful and the stitches are jagged, but I'm learning. Acceptance. I've come to treasure the times at your kitchen table with you and Grandpa, the cribbage games, the food, the conversation, the school projects, the games. Your ghosts don't haunt me anymore. They live inside my heart. They give me warmth when all I feel is numb. I've found comfort in the change that's followed your wake. This next one is called PTSD. Showers, nightmares, forgetting, showers, drinking, purging, pushing people away, more showers, rubbing your skin raw. Forgetting where you are, nothingness, tears, forgetting who you love, clawing the hell out of them, accidentally, nightmares. Memory loss. Time travel. Showers, more nothingness, forgetting how to eat, to breathe, to live, more trauma, therapy, not showering for a week, not knowing what's real, what isn't, blacking out, drinking to feel something, drinking to forget, forgetting to drink, feeling it raw. Remembering there's ways to cope in bathroom stalls, knees to the tiles, fingers down the throat, wrists itching to be cut open, binging. Fucking to feel something, fucking to forget, fucking losing yourself, worrying you'll never find yourself, nothing, months of nothing. I used to like to read. My hair was a rainbow, my body a canvas, my voice meant something. It wasn't lost in nothing, lost in the void, lost in the ether. But nowadays, that's all I find. This next one is called Focus on the Texture. I know this is going to end, so I focus on the texture of your shirt. The soft cotton tickles my skin as I let you hold me one last time. I know this is going to end, so I focus on the texture of your fingers against my cheek, gently tracing patterns that leaves me wanting more. I know this is going to end, so I focus on the texture of your eyes when they meet mine, the soft sorrow, the refusal to cry. I know this is going to end, so I focus on the texture of your lips on mine just one last time, the way they taste, the way they move. I know this is going to end, so I focus on the texture of your hands holding me up as my knees give out. There is nothing romantic about this. I know this is going to end, so I focus on the texture of my fingers, torn and bleeding, calloused without you. Okay, and this last one is called An Ode to the Grave. My love, I pray that one day when you hold me in your arms again, that I'll remember the sunshine you've spread to me, the way it wrapped around me after the dark, the way it twinkled like lightning bugs. My love, I pray that one day when you hold me in your arms again, that you will weave flowers into my ventricles, let their stems burst through my lungs, that they make a home out of the decay. My love, I pray that one day when you hold me in your arms again, that you will let my organs be eaten, allow me to nourish those who have nourished me for so long, let the beetles and maggots feast upon my flesh. My body owes you that much. My love, I pray that one day, when you hold me in your arms for the final time, that you remember how I yearned for you, how my blood mixed with yours, the way it pooled into you, the way you always made room for me. My love, I pray that one day, when you hold me in your arms for the final time, you remember every breath of mine, how you've held me many times before, that this isn't our first or last meeting. I pray you remember my love for you. Yours truly. Thank you.
Well, damn. Apparently, if you just make people follow each other, it'll just keep being good. Nobody has to be like, damn, can't believe I'm following that person, because you're all killers. This is amazing. Sorry, I have run out of things to say because they're all so good. That's where we are. Our closer tonight is Ms. Abigail Morrow. She was in issues 7, 8, and 9 of the Atlas, and she was a workshop leader this year. Abigail, let's go.
Thank you, Sarah. It's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to be reading with you all tonight. It's also intimidating to be the closer of all of the fire that's been raging this evening. So thank you for allowing me to end our reading this evening. I'm going to take it back. I will be reading something old, something really old, and finally something new here. So let me start with our oldest here. This is On Sharks and Other Things with Teeth. 1. A poem is a shark. Like a poem, a shark will die if it does not continuously swim against a current of assumptions. 2. When I say a shark, I mean the physical impossibility of death in the mind of someone living. 3. Conversely, a poem is a snark. It is a thing that we may or may not be searching for, if in fact we are actually searching, which we would be able to answer, of course, if the shark poem didn't have to keep moving. 4, poetry is the 5th dimension and the 7th sense, the ones that never seem to get their own films. 5, a man walks into a museum and exhales. The next day, a plaque appears commemorating this event. It reads, poetry was here. 6, poetry is the last man on earth still waiting for a date. 7, David and Goliath was a conspiracy theory. The slingshot was poetry, though the rock, my friends, was real. Thank you. You can find that in volume 8 of the Atlas, available with the MWC Press. And I'm going to take it up 1 year, looking at the Atlas volume 9. I will be reading the vertebral column. I have a chip on my left shoulder. It is shaped like the red Columbia 10-speed bicycle, stolen from my father in the Dispatch's annual scholarship for newspaper carriers by his best friend, a man who was going to be a doctor, became a doctor, and whose tired doctor voice comes over the telephone asking for his old buddy to give him a ring sometime, and to hang up immediately if his third wife answers the phone. But although my shoulder is my father's, my spine isn't straight and true like his, an arrow piercing brain and blood, upheld by years of discipline filling in the crevices and cracks, a spine that cannot curve, cannot bend, cannot change with the snap of sinew. My father says I lack discipline. I disagree. Unlike his spine, my virtues are flexible. Rather, my spine is shaped like the state of Massachusetts, home of my mother's birthplace. Cape Cod curving round my 12th and 14th vertebrae, a twisting map of familial history, holding up my torso. I can mark the death plots of each aunt and uncle with the freckles on my back. Each inch a century, each mark a genetic braille. My trunk, a literal family tree. The reason we have a family is to remind us that sometimes we are small. This is why God didn't have a father. This is why I do. Thank you. Okay. I will be closing out this evening tonight with something new. This is Goliath. I was smaller when I first met you, shivered up in my own acceptance, wrapped in coastal confidence. I was so sure you were like the sea that kisses shore, not fully aware that sand is just land that's been beaten and ground down. Now I am a giant in sheep's clothing, bloated by boredom. Let me call you darling, David. Take your slingshot, sweetheart, and arm it with your doubt. Emboldened by my blindness, don't tell me I'm a threat because I'm bigger than you. Teetering on the precipice of my own self-conceptions, let me face you alone with my melting eye teeth. You, anointed. Me in the wrong place at the wrong time, I guess. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Cut me up into pieces and throw me in the riverbed. I'll let you win, but they'll still need me to remember your name. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Abigail. Thank you, Ryan, for first inviting me and second allowing me to host. I am floored. I have read very few of these writers before today, and I missed a good 10-year at least chunk of knowing what was going on with the Young Emerging Writers Internship. I am so impressed and so honored and humbled. I feel like I'm saying that a lot lately. Thank you all for coming, but thanks especially to our performers. Ryan, it's your turn.
Wow. Yeah, I want to second all of those emotions. Thank you all so much for reading, everybody. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for applying to YEW a long time ago. Thanks for still being involved with YEW and the Midwest Writing Center. We wouldn't be anything without all of you. I'm really taken aback by, I am not taken aback by how brilliant everybody's work is, because I've known that for 15 years. And I think like the excellence and the potential that we've seen and everybody that you've heard from tonight and everyone who's ever come through the program and people that we weren't able to hire when we didn't have enough space. I think that excellence and that potential that we all saw then is evident now, right? Like I am not surprised that all of you are such badasses, not in the least. But I am still totally amazed by all of you. Totally grateful for your work and for you. I was really impressed. Like those of you that read like old work from we didn't tell them what to read. They said you could do whatever you want, read whatever you want, old stuff, new stuff, play music. Music was amazing. Thank you for that, Emily. But yeah, we had no idea what people were going to do. We just tried to give them a space to do something amazing. And they did. But the way that the work from the Atlas, which for some of these people is 5, 6, 10 years ago, maybe ish. I don't want to get into math right now. That's no fun. But the way it holds up with the with the new work that you all read, like you've all been on this trajectory for however long you've been doing it, and we're really grateful and hopeful that we were grateful to work with you along the way, and hopeful that we helped in some way and continue. Or hopefully we're here to help. We like to think about YW as a family, and anything that we can ever do for any of our alumni, we're happy to do. So if you want to check out some of the back issues of the Atlas, almost all of them are available at our MWC Press bookstore. I've linked that on there. You can check those out. The pre-order for Atlas 15 will go up on Monday, so you'll be able to check that out. We still don't have a hard release date yet, but when that comes out, we'll let you know, and we will be doing a release party reading, probably in this same format. So keep an eye out for that. For all the new young bloods that some of us have been working with all summer, they are just as fire as everything you've heard tonight. One of the most astounding things about working on this program for 15 years is the consistency. I've been saying for 15 years that some of the best writers in this region, in the Quad Cities, are 19 years and younger. And I don't think a lot of times people believe me, but I'm right. And I would know, because I've had the immense privilege of working with all these fantastic people. So when I tell you things like that, people out in the world, you should dig it, because I work hard at knowing what I'm talking about. And like I said, I get to work with such amazing people that prove me correct every single time. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll be in touch with some more things YW related and other events that the Writing Center has cooking for the fall. Everything's still kind of crazy, but we're still forging ahead. If this summer has taught us one thing, it's that writing is very adaptable. Readings are very adaptable to this kind of format. So even though we can't all be together the way that we would love to be, we are still together. And the love is still there, and it'll be there in whatever else we do this fall and beyond. So thank you all so much. Thank you again to all of our readers. Thank you for working with us and for being so fantastic and inspiring us. You're the best. We love you. And we love you too at home. Be safe, take care of each other, and take care of yourselves. And we'll see you soon. All right. Much love. Take care, everybody.